Alright, so the Hill Harper videos I made opened up the opportunity for me to talk about a couple of other hot topics. One of them is gold digging, and the other one is having standards that are too high. I shall start with the former. A few individuals who left comments on my videos want to equate seeking a financially stable man with gold digging. Well, these people do not know what gold digging means. The built-in Google dictionary says that a gold digger is a person who cultivates a personal relationship in order to attain money. Okay, I'm not trying to attain money from anybody. I want to live comfortably with my husband. I want to be able to provide any children that I have with more than the bare minimum of being fed and clothed. I want them to be able to take horseback riding lessons if they decide they want to. I want them to be able to travel around the world with me and my husband and see how other people live and see other cultures so they can be well-rounded people. If they happen to be struggling in a subject in school, I want to be able to hire a personal tutor to help them out. It's not all about shopping sprees and diamond rings and fur coats. I just want to live comfortably with more than just the bare minimum. I'm not looking for rich, I'm looking for stable. And I'm not looking to get money from the man or separate him from his money. I want to live together with him in a comfortable life. I want more than the bare minimum. Yes, I want bread, but I also want roses too, as was the quote from one of my favorite movies, Bread and Roses. Now, here's the question that a lot of black women out there need to know the answer to. How do you know if your standards are too high? Your standards are too high if you set a standard and no men who meet that standard ever hit on you. For example, if you say you want your prospective man to be a doctor, but you never get hit on by any doctors, then that standard is too high for you to have. It's an individual thing. Some women can pull doctors and some can't. Some women can pull doctors because they're really beautiful, or they are doctors themselves, or there's something about them that attracts doctors. So when I was talking about wanting a financially stable man, and some of the guys were responding saying, oh, your standards are too high, or you're going to be single forever. Well, first of all, I'm not single. And second of all, when I was pulling financially stable men. The day you hear me complaining about not being able to find a man is the day you can tell me that my standards are too high. My standards are not automatically too high just because they exclude you. That's what standards do. They include some people and exclude others. To be able to pull a financially stable man, or any type of man that you want to get, all you have to do is be the type of woman that that man wants. You don't even have to be financially stable yourself. Now, for those of you who are asking, why I gotta be what he want? Why he can't be what I want? Well, let's just put it this way. I don't have time for stupid fucking questions. Moving along. Here's one thing that I think some black women have a problem with, and that's knowing what they're really truly worth to a man. An example would be, or rather an analogy, let's say your grandfather, who was your favorite person in the world, died and left in his will for you an '89 Toyota Corolla. So of course, since your beloved grandfather left that car to you, it's going to have all sorts of sentimental value to you, and it might even be priceless in your eyes. You might be thinking, I'm not even going to think about selling this car for less than $50,000, because that's how much that car means to you. But if you actually tried to go and sell that car, all that sentimental value and worth that you've attached to that car means nothing to a total stranger. So that car is probably going to sell for close to whatever the Blue Book value says that it's worth. See, the Blue Book tells you how much it's worth. You don't tell the Blue Book. And likewise, you don't tell a man how much you're worth to him. He tells you. So you have to be honest and don't be all sentimental when you're deciding how much you're really worth to a man. Yes, I know you think you're a great catch, just like you think your grandfather's car is the greatest car in the world. But a man is only going to hit on you, and more importantly ask you to marry him, if he thinks you're worth what he's offering. One other concept that might help you is that you may deserve something, but you might not be able to afford it. Let's say you've been saving up your money for the last 2, 5 years, whatever, and finally you're in the market to buy a house. So you find a house you like, and you got enough to make the down payment, but still the monthly payments will be like, what, $5,000 a month? Well, if you make $5,000 a month, then obviously you can't afford that house. Now, you may deserve it or feel you deserve it because, hey, you go to work every day, you pay your taxes, and you don't commit crime, so hey, you deserve nice things in life. But that doesn't mean you can afford it. You may deserve a doctor or feel that you do, but that doesn't mean you can afford one or, in other words, attract one. Alright, there's one more concept that I want to bring up. Back when I was working in advertising, we used to use something called the triangle. Now, anybody who works in business might know the real name for it, but we just called it the triangle. The triangle has, of course, 3 corners, and in one corner it has fast, another corner it has cheap, and in the third corner it has quality. Now, realistically speaking, most times you can only have 2 of the 3 at one time. You can get something fast and cheap, but it's probably not going to be of good quality. You can get something of quality and you can get it fast, but it's probably not going to be cheap. And by cheap I mean inexpensive. And lastly, you can get something that's inexpensive and is of high quality, but they'll deliver the product to you when they can get around to it. You're going to have to wait longer than usual. Now, every now and again, you will find fast, cheap, and quality all in one place. To find all 3 in one place, you kind of have to get lucky. Now, if we translate that over to how it applies to finding a man, the way you might be getting lucky is that you might be very beautiful. Or the way you luck up may be that a guy that has all 3 of those qualities has fallen in love with you. But for the rest of us, it's not likely that you're going to find somebody who's super handsome, financially stable, or rich, and is also a great guy. I mean character-wise, and I don't think the character thing is something you want to compromise on very much. So let's say you definitely know you want a financially stable man who's got good character. You may have to let looks go a little bit. I'm not saying you got to marry Shrek, but maybe you shouldn't be holding out for Isaiah Mustafa. Or maybe you want somebody who's fine and has good character. Well, you might have to let financial stability go. Or if you want financial stability and a great guy, you might have to go for an older guy. But don't be expecting an Isaiah Mustafa lookalike who's rich and is a great guy, because most of us can't afford a guy like that. A guy like that is probably going to have really high standards that most of us can't meet. But he can do that because he's fine and he's rich, and men are in the minority. So anyway, hopefully that helps. You just got to be honest about what you're truly worth to a man. How much you're worth to yourself doesn't matter. What you think you deserve doesn't matter. You have to look at your quote-unquote blue book value and not your sentimental value. Basically, whatever kind of men you're attracting, that's what you're worth. That's where you're at. If you don't like where you're at, then you need to do stuff to raise your stock. Alright, that's all I gotta say. Peace out.